Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today we are talking wedding dress trends for 2026, and I have a special guest on today. Her name is Paola Estefania, and Paola Estefania is a Venezuelan-born, high sought-after haute couture designer. She creates one-of-a-kind custom garments for VIP clients all over the world. With a background in both textiles and interior design, Paola's eye for fashion and emerging trends is truly unique. Her collections feature a range of styles from classic to contemporary with her signature sophistication and quintessential elegance. Paola Estefania is where luxury and elegance meet to create one of a kind fashion. The collection features a range of styles from classic to contemporary. Each of the gowns and garments are made with the utmost attention to detail using only the highest quality materials and techniques. From intricate lace to stunning beadwork, every element is crafted with precision and care to create a truly unique and unforgettable dress. Our collection is designed to cater to all body types and sizes with a range of silhouettes that flatter every figure. In addition to her bridal couture, evening wear, ready to wear, and swimmer collections, she offers bespoke services to customize her designs to your liking. She can incorporate unique details, adjust the length, add sleeves, or create a one of a kind garment that is tailored to your vision. So, welcome to the show, Paola.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I've
Oh
been looking
my
for this for a
gosh.
while. I love your
Yes.
show. I truly do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, I got introduced to you through a past guest who is Pia Toscano, and you are her on-stage dress designer, which is so amazing. And you also designed her wedding dress, which is really cool. So I'm so glad we were able to connect in that way.
Yes, no, I think it's the perfect timing. And of course, what a better introduction than through Pia?
Oh, right. Totally. I mean, she's so gorgeous. I mean, I feel like if I were you, I'd be like, oh my goodness, like,
No,
you're like
she's the
my
ultimate
muse. Like,
muse. Yes,
yeah, totally.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
yesterday was her birthday, so I
Oh,
dedicated my
yeah.
whole stories to her and everything that we have done from the very first gown that I curated to, of course, the bride's magazine cover. So that was really special.
So gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. You've created so many amazing looks on her. But yeah,
Thank
first, I would
you.
love to start off and just ask you, like, what has your journey been like to becoming a wedding dress designer?
This is something that I just dreamt about. And for the last 7 years, I have perfected my craft as a fashion designer. When I first started, I started with menswear. I know it's completely the opposite, and it was active menswear. Then I started creating designs for this activewear brand. At the time, it was called Humble Hustler, and I remember getting DMs from a friend of mine who did one of the WWE champions, like a wrestler, makeup, and he was like, "Hey, my friend really likes what you are making with Humble Hustler. She wants to know if you want to make her a custom ring gear for her upcoming, WrestleMania match." I had no idea what that meant or what it was. So I'm Googling WrestleMania and her name. And, I was like, at all, like, wow, she wants something custom. And at the time, I was making things, for myself, basically. I was my own model, I was using my own measurements, while simultaneously learning how to sew, how to create patterns, how to draft, because my major is in interior design.
That's
Two
cool.
completely different worlds. And so little by little, I started my company and my brand in Los Angeles and, hiring cotton sewers, watching them meticulously cutting every single day for hours on end. I would just watch and learn from them on the sewing machines, all of their techniques. And I was really blessed to work with some really talented seamstresses who taught me everything. And I remember going to fabric stores and just going towards all of the couture, right? All of the beaded, the lace, all of the chiffons, and then learning little by little techniques and how to construct a garment using those fabrics that I had never even thought of, designing, my own collection. That was like never in my dreams that I think that I could be able to accomplish something so, you know, ambitious to say the least. And, throughout my years of creating custom garments for my clients in Los Angeles, especially in Hollywood, through Instagram and social media, I had more requests for editorials and then another request for red carpets. And so I found myself at the right place at the right time. This is right before COVID, and a lot of the collaborations that really made me who I am today were from, that hustle and really trying to say yes to every project, even though I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. Like the, ring gear for my client through her WrestleMania match that became viral. And then other people started seeing that through their followers and just in the industry. That really put me in a place where I was kind of like known for bespoke and custom. And I was able to really curate a special team in Los Angeles, and I was doing a lot of really cool stuff. Like I worked for Irene Levine, and we did the basic magazine cover. That was a suit, a yellow suit. I've worked with Ava Max. I've worked with, I did Vogue Ukraine with Christine Quinn from Selling Sunset, and that was a really wow, like milestone for me. And it was this really cool black couture mesh dress that I had never done before. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to say yes. I think I could drape it and I think I can make it happen. And so, 7 years later, here I am showcasing my collections in Miami Wedding Week and, New York Fashion Week, which I showcased for the first time in February. And, Pia was my third bridal client ever.
Okay.
And after working with her and curating all these bespoke looks for her tour with Andrea Bocelli, we just kept delivering more and more. And one dress was like even more gorgeous than the other. And, you know, that's kind of like my specialty. I collaborate with my clients. It's their vision, made to life, but it's my interpretation of that vision that they have or those inspirations. And so we merge our ideas together, and throughout the whole process, they get to pick their fabrics. I'm very detailed, and I tell them step by step of how everything works. And so that has allowed me to grow as well, because through their eyes, and their expectations, I'm like, okay, I have to kind of do this for this client and she likes this more. So I've been able to study the woman's body in so many different sizes and so many different ranges. I've been able to do streetwear, ready to wear, swimwear, now bridal. I think it led me up to this point from
Oh, yeah.
starting in menswear, and now I was able to do a suit, which I collaborated with Will Smith earlier
Yeah.
this year,
That's
and
so
this men's
cool.
suit. And now my bridal clients were like, okay, well then now we know you could do a custom suit for our groom. So
Yeah.
everything just kind of lands or has landed after sequence of so many different collaborations and projects. And that's
Hmm.
really how my brand has emerged.
Yeah, you've had so many amazing accomplishments throughout the years and
Thank you too.
opportunities and collaborations. And it's really cool to see and just hear that story about how your brand has truly evolved and, making a wrestling suit all the way to now doing like
Right.
bridal looks, which is amazing. And so it's
Yeah.
cool to just see how, like, yeah, and even like, you were doing menswear and now you're kind of back at menswear. And so it's kind of like a full circle moment and everything. But you just did Miami Fashion Week. So tell me a little bit more about what you sent down the runway and maybe some of the trends that you were seeing there.
Yes. So I collaborated with Miami Wedding Week. This was their second year in a row doing a bigger event where they actually showcased four other brands, but I was the opener, and they really wanted to collaborate with me and my brand in terms of the, the theme of the runway show, alongside with what they wanted to, the experience that they wanted to create for their guests, right, and their audience. And so this year the theme was saints and sinners.
Mm.
So, we opened the runway with, a backdrop of just fire, kind of simulating, the sinners. And then we had smoke down the runway, which make it very theatrical and, very dramatic, but again, very theatrical. And so the first few looks, I wanted to do something that, you know, also catered to a lot of the newer brides, because if you it, I'm not really big on trends, but I am big on, you know, kind of like transformation. And so I feel like um most current brides have always asked me for a completely different look for their reception. They want to kind of go away from the very traditional, which is what they want to walk down the aisle, versus what they want to wear for the party. And that kind of jaw dropping moment, like, whoa, okay, this is, this is the bride, but she's ready to have fun. And so I started with some really beautiful beaded bodysuits, which is kind of what I'm known for.
Love
Very
that.
sculpted, still very elegant and sophisticated. But again, we wanted to give that edge of sinners, right? And so for that sexier bride, or if somebody has a theme, you don't necessarily have to wear white. You can switch to a different color that goes with the ambiance or goes with the decor or the florals, and again, it's kind of thinking out of the box, but really paying homage to your personality. And so I want the brides that want me to create something bespoke or go into my showroom and purchase any of the looks or any of the gowns. I want them to feel so unique, but I want them to feel like, okay, someone heard me. I wanted to do something completely different than what I wore down the aisle. And so that was the idea. And then we had a little bit of evening wear for also, uh, like I said, a lot of my clients are also doing their weddings overseas. And
Yeah,
depending
they
on where they're
are.
getting married, the country, the venue, whether it's outdoors, indoors, we're thinking of other ways of creating their looks and making them more of unique and part of that, experience. And so that was kind of the idea. The collection is called Eternal Elegance,
Ooh,
and I use a
nice.
lot of traditional silhouettes and fabrics, but I gave them a little twist, right? And every dress is very unique. You're not going to see a continuity. Of course, there is, but like I said, I love and I have been blessed to work with so many different clients from all over the world that I have been able to really just capture a little bit of everyone. And so I wanted to create something very unique that every look that walked down the runway, people were just like, wow, okay. I didn't want it to just be very repetitive.
Hmm. Yeah, I get that. It's so gorgeous. And yeah, I've seen the photos that you've posted and videos, and
Thank you.
oh, it's so like unique. And I feel like each dress or bodysuit or look in itself is just like a wow moment. And yeah, I love it so much. So when you were creating this collection, tell me like what colors, what materials and things were you gravitating towards? And I guess did that also coincide with what a lot of your clients had been asking you for to create in their custom looks?
Yeah, so I kind of did a little bit of everything. Like I said, I really wanted to play with different textures, and I wanted to, as part of this particular event, which had a theme, I wanted to pay homage to that as well, but keep it still very me and just showcase my signature style and highlight what I'm really good at. And so a lot of my dresses, especially the very first ones, there's like a mini French crystal dress, which is very um, it's kind of more like the 1920s, vibe. And then we went ahead and switched that up with a very dramatic ball gown. And so it was more mesh, and then you had more of that intricate 3D lace design mixed with lace, traditional lace. And then, the finale dress was sleek, but still had a very jaw dropping moment, which is the long train with the 3D lace. And that one I actually I all I when we walked into the venue at the Colonnade Hotel, they had a staircase, and all I envisioned was that dress with the model up in the staircase, and then just the entire train of the dress draping the staircase. And once she was there and we got those images and that content, I was so proud of myself, because it was like, okay, this dress, especially even if it's for someone that's a little bit more um sophisticated and doesn't like the very dramatic, um over the top, ball gowns, which again, every dress is so unique that I wanted to cater to everyone's personality and everyone's, taste, and they could see a little bit of themselves in every single dress. But this particular finale dress is really special because right before the runway started, I started sewing these really beautiful Swarovski crystal strings.
Ooh,
And
wow.
because I added some beading that were off the shoulder for, again, it's very delicate and very elegant, but I wanted to do something a little bit more. And so I'm kind of known for glitter. So in
Yeah.
this particular dress, you could see how it's just so feminine and so elegant, but still gives it a little bit of that, oh wow, okay, this is, maybe I've never thought of create or adding that to something I would wear. But once you see it down the runway and once you see it on the model, it's like, oh, okay, well, I might just, well, try that on for somebody that's a little bit less, out there and feels like they want something that doesn't necessarily have any um, sparkle, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that was the intention. I really wanted to create something that felt eternal, that felt like even if you have this dress 20 years, 30 years, but your daughter wants to wear this, it's still going to feel contemporary. It's still going to feel fresh. It's still going to feel like it's, something that somebody could wear and pass it on to the next generation. And I think that's why Eternal Elegance was the name of the collection.
Yeah, I love that theme. And I think, from the couples that I talk to on here and the brides who are dress shopping, that is something that they are looking for is like they want like a very classic look a lot of times in their weddings. Like I'm talking to a lot of brides and they're like, I want like Frank Sinatra theme, like very black and white, like classic Italian, like that sort of a thing. And so yeah, kind of going along with that eternal sort of theme that you have going on in your collection, I think is really cool that it is able to go from generation to generation and almost be timeless in a way, which is cool. So I love
Yeah.
that. And then I can't believe you just said that like you were literally sewing some beads like right before your dresses went down the runway. Like, is that
It's
typical?
always like
I'm just
yes.
like picturing
It's
Project
so
Runway. Like, is
typical.
that how it is? Okay.
It is. It is. I live reside in Texas, and this my showroom in Miami was where I had like all the dresses, and so I had to do the fitting with all 15 models. But when you see a dress on the body, depending on, you know, the body type, the height, you have to modify some things right before the runway. But this particular dress, it was done. When I looked at it, I was like, okay, perfect. And just right before I walked, I just looked at all these crystals and also, and I said, well, hold on a minute, I think we need to make this a little bit more special. And my mom, who is, one of the reasons why I do what I do today, um she always had us dressed in custom um, whatever we had a quinceañera or whenever we had a special holiday party for the family, she had us in custom dresses since I was a baby, you know. So
I
this is
love
something that
that.
is very notorious in Venezuela, especially in small cities where you don't have the access to boutiques or you know designer clothing or you know big name brand stores or malls. We lived in a very small city and there were some really talented seamstresses, and so my mom was friends with all of them, and that's how I remember us going to the fabric store, her you know draping it on me and saying, oh, okay, these are the pictures in magazines. At the time there was no cell phone, so we would cut pictures in the magazines and show them what to do. And so now my mom helps me with a lot of the sewing.
Oh, I love
She
that.
actually helped me sew most of the French lace in Pia's dress.
No
That took
way.
over 3.5 weeks.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Pia was
It was
kind of
all
describing the
hand
process.
sewn.
Yeah,
And I'm
hand
so blessed to have
sewn.
my mom who's extremely talented, you know, in hand sewing and who's taught me a lot too. And so during the show, we were both, you know, fixing and sewing. But it, I'm so blessed. I love what I do. I love fashion. And, you know, it's really my calling. So it's almost
Yeah.
therapeutic at this point.
That's really cool to just like know that that's your calling and to be stepping into that and having that as a big part of your purpose, which is amazing. Um I know like you mentioned lace before. I feel like we are seeing a big lace comeback as of late, and you did like head to toe lace on Pia's dress and in your collection. And I've also noticed like with veils, like you
Yeah.
did all birdcage veils, right? In your collection,
So
which was
I
so cool.
thank you. So, you know, I think this is one of the things that's so much fun to really mix the old and the new.
Yeah,
And I want brides to really experiment and to be able to think of the styling. It's not just about the dress, it's about the hair, the makeup, and the accessories. It all goes together.
100%.
It's
Hmm.
so, so important. What you wear on your hair determines what kind of veil you should wear. And a lot of brides kind of don't really think about these meticulous details that could transform your look completely just by having the right accessories. Like gloves are also making a huge comeback. I love
Oh,
sheer
yeah.
gloves. I had a client recently who married in Ibiza. She's a
Mm.
Grammy nominated singer songwriter, Manu Manso, and I created these very beautiful sheer gloves on her and also added some little dingling crystals. And I added
Ooh,
the
wow.
her groom's initials embroidered. And so every time you see all of her poses and she's drinking champagne and she's retouching her makeup, the photographer will get those cute little shots of those very special details. And so somebody that might have never thought of wearing a glove might be missing out of an opportunity to really have some photo ops or something that makes that look even more fashion forward or you know more chic or elevated. And so I love playing with mixing the old and the new, you know, and making something really traditional, but making it look so much more contemporary and fresh. I also had one particular gown. This one, I grabbed about 6 yards of white mesh, plain white mesh. Of course, is the material that I use for veils, but a little bit heavier. And I just wrapped it around her updo, and it looked like almost a bandana, but then the whole train of that piece of fabric became her veil. And I mean, on Pinterest right now, it's like going crazy. It's like people thinking like, oh, wait a minute. I don't have to have a pinned traditional veil. I could literally grab a piece of fabric or something that, you know, belongs to the dress and match it to something else that could be a headpiece, but could also be a veil, you know? And
Yeah.
one of those things that is just so much fun. And same thing with the shorter veils. They're very Dior. I was really inspired by Dior, and again with the updo and just adding that little bit of extra, um, it just makes it look so chic.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I know. I love what you said just about adding all those little details to the look because a question that I get from a lot of couples is like, how can we make our wedding more fun for our guests? Or how can we like add in more like unique details, like something that someone's never seen before?
Hmm.
But I am kind of relating that to what you said with having some unexpected details. Like you said, the fringe on the glove, the initials on the glove, where you're going to get that in every shot. Like adding those little details to your actual wedding look is also another way to kind of incite some more like intrigue into your wedding. And like people will, I'm sure everyone comes up to you when you're the bride at your wedding and they're like, can I see that glove? Like, it just adds like some more uniqueness to your actual event through your clothing, which I think is really cool.
Oh, yes. And I think also, if you think about in terms of, outfit changes, you don't necessarily have to change the entire dress if you're just switching, the veil from a scarf and you wear a long scarf and switch the veil, and that just makes it a completely different and, it just changes the vibe and also elevates it. Instead of wearing, the overskirt, you take it off, which is mostly the transition that we typically see. You could literally just take that, instead of making the long skirt, make it a mini skirt and keep the overskirt with the mini, and that just makes it even more fun, but you're still comfortable enough to where you can walk and dance because the overskirt has a thicker structure, so it's more comfortable and it's less heavy. And I always give my brides, my bridal clients, the option, and I always ask, okay, where are you getting married? Is there going to be sand? Is there going to be grass? Is there going to be, paved floor or stones? Like, what is the venue like? And then, because that's also really important and to take into consideration of when you're choosing the right dress, right? And keeping in mind that you want to be comfortable,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and if you are transitioning to different looks, you don't necessarily have to buy three different dresses or two different dresses. You can switch your accessories.
Yeah, I think that's really smart because, yeah, most of the brides that I talk to are like, I'm like, did you go dress shopping yet? Have you purchased your one, two, or three dresses yet? Because I know that's such a huge trend is like doing that ceremony look and then doing that reception look and then even doing an after party look. Or, there's so many looks now that
Yeah.
brides have because they have a welcome party, they have a rehearsal dinner. Like, you have to have a little white dress like for everything. It doesn't have to be white, but a look for everything.
Yeah. And
But
another thing,
yeah.
sorry to cut you off.
No, go
Um,
ahead.
Another thing that I want to see more of, and especially now that I specialize in bespoke. I want my clients to dream big, and I want to be able to deliver, the most iconic and very, unique dresses, right? And give them that experience, but at the same time give their guests that experience of, we have never seen their daughter or their daughter-in-law, dressed that way. And it's almost like, wow, she looks like a movie star. She's, that's the, and that's my biggest reward too, is when people see the bride and they're like, they didn't expect for her to choose, and especially the groom too. Oh my God, the grand reveal with the groom is like, it always makes me cry, and it's always really emotional. But to see their look on their faces when they choose something, and they're always like, I would have never thought you would wear that. That's kind of the point. I want the bride to be the best dress, as she should be. She has to be the center of attention. Nobody can outshine the bride, right? So you could wear so many different things. We could do like pearls. We could do a whole dress of French pearls. We could do, fringes. We could work with silvers. You could work with nudes. You could work with, of course, off white if want to still keep it pleating. I just did an amazing dress to Manuela, and she wore a pleated Ralph Lauren silk, and this was custom pleated. And man, that was just, I had to custom
Ooh.
dye the fabric because she wanted a specific off-white color, and I could not find it. But the closest that I got to it was this Ralph Lauren silk. Um, and I had it pleated in Los Angeles, and they were about 16 yards and 8.5 panels because they you have to make them into a panel that looks kind of like a triangle. And I had to drape it onto her before I even made a sample because I had to make sure that I had enough pieces of silk in order to construct what she wanted. And then we did like this very gorgeous off the shoulder, kind of like thick leaves that kind of draped off the bustier. And she looked so effortlessly like stunning, and it was so light. I mean, she could have worn that dress all night. She, was glowing. And also, I think the skin tone, if you are Latina or if you're dark skin, I always recommend doing something that's a little bit more on the off-white champagne tones because it just looks so much more, it looks beautiful no matter what. But I just loved, she was very tan. And then we went and, you know, did more of like that skin shimmer makeup to make her look even like more tan, and it was just like wow, that color was just beautiful. And again, there was no beading, there's no lace, it was pleated and it was so impeccable. With Pia's
Wow.
dress we did um which was funny because when I saw Jeff Bezos' wife's Dolce and Gabbana dress, it looked very similar
Yeah.
to her dress, minus the buttons in the front. And again, we wanted to create something that felt vintage but contemporary. And the skirt, it's a mermaid shape, but then I wanted it to feel like it was it wasn't a traditional um, skirt. And so the construction underneath this skirt was a puzzle. It really was. It was
Wow.
probably one of the hardest thing I've ever done. And, the silhouette was really unique. I pretty much combined two different patterns to achieve the train and the shape of the skirt of her dress. But again, it was being able to use traditional lace, but make it more modern. And,
Yeah.
I think that's why if a bride is really looking for something special, I always recommend doing something that's custom. One, because it's unique, it's one of a kind. No one else is going to wear it. No one else is going to have it. And second is also because you can merge so many different designs and combine them into your own. And I think that's what makes it, truly special.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely.
That's so cool, just how you've kind of explained how the construction really makes such a difference in the fit of the dress, the look of the dress. And Pia's dress looked like it just fit like a glove, and it looked like totally her too, which is really cool and just so elegant. And I love just the description of like the pleats too. It's like, just the design and way that you can drape and put together a dress can look so unique and stunning without, all the beading and things like that. Like, it just the construction of it can really stand on its own too. And so I'm sure that's a lot of the fun part of designing too, is to just really come up with something out of nothing and see how beautiful it looks on somebody's body, and for them to have that at the moment they're saying I do, and to just like have that in their memory for forever and have that dress with them for forever, which I'm sure is just like such a privilege for you as a designer too.
It's the biggest honor as a designer to be able to do bridal is perhaps the highest recognition. Like to be able to, create something that is perhaps the most important garment that a woman will wear for the rest of her life. That's a huge responsibility. Not only that, it's almost like, part of my legacy, what I want, and the way that I've been able to continue the bond and the relationship and the friendships that have transformed after working with my clients for so many months. That's truly what I enjoy the most and what I cherish the most. I mean, every single one of my clients, they've invited me to their weddings. I have been
I
there.
love it.
I style them. I mean, it's not just when you buy a Paola Estefania dress, you're getting me. I'm flying to wherever you're getting married. I'm making sure that you're absolutely perfect. If I can, hopefully, I will make it to as many weddings as I can. But no, I truly love being able to just making my clients my friends. There's nothing more special than that. And also the way that their family, the way that they greet you and how grateful, the mothers, the fathers are like, you made my daughter look like a princess. And we're all like sobbing. And
Mm.
I get to go home, being grateful and thanking God for being able to be a part of such a memorable moment in that family's life and in their, you know, the continuation of that love story. It's something that, like I said, I never even thought that I was going to be able to produce bridal. And now that I am doing it, I don't take it for granted. It's like I said, it's like building a home, it's extremely um it's like one of the biggest or greatest honors that I've had as an adult. And I have two daughters, Sophia
Mm.
and Isabella. One is 7 and the little one is 4. And when I have to leave for work, I tell them, I say, girls, this is for a very special person. And being able to be appreciated and value the way that my bridal clients value me makes me feel okay to step aside and work and be away from my kids, which is really hard. Sometimes I have to leave a week, 2 weeks, to travel or to because my production is in Miami. But I know that I'm making something truly special, and it makes it okay, a little bit easier.
Yeah, definitely. I know you're showing them how to work hard and, what it's like to live the dream seriously and to just step into your purpose and, do what you're called to do with your designs. So it's such a good example that you're setting for them, even though I know
Thank
it's
you.
hard being away from them too. Cause yeah, I have kids too, and my husband travels a lot. And so I totally, get that dynamic and everything. So yeah. But I've absolutely loved chatting with you. This has been
Me
really cool to
too.
just like
I feel like
hear
we could do
all
3 more
about it.
hours.
I know, right? Yes. It's so cool to just hear all about your collection and what you've seen and just the purpose behind what you do. So, maybe tell us like where people can find you online. Like, maybe tell us also a little bit about what the process is like to order a custom dress from you. Can we find your dresses anywhere else? Does it all go through you? Like, give us a little
Yes,
insight on
so
that.
I'm really excited to announce I'm actually opening a showroom at the beginning of November in San Antonio, Texas, which is where I live.
Congrats.
I will be taking appointments, and of course, I have clients from all over the country, and like I said, also from different countries as well, overseas. And so you could always book an appointment, whether it's on my showroom in Miami or our new showroom that's opening in San Antonio through my website, paolestefania.com. And I have a bridal section, and that's exactly where you could book your appointment, whether it's virtual or whether it's in person. And, the beginning stages are really easy. I have a questionnaire based on, your preferences, and a lot of the new lookbook of all of these dresses that I curated for the spring summer 26 collection could be custom made or made to measure, of course, could be modified in any size, any color. Of course, you could take them as inspiration as well if you want to do something custom. But I always recommend speaking, setting up an appointment. It's very important because, it's I want to learn about the client. I want to make sure that, I want to learn a little bit more about her budget, her preferences. And some brides don't really have an exact idea of what they want. So I want to help them make the right decision, or at least guide them through the process of selecting the right silhouette. And so on my website, I also actually send them a PDF with the breakdown. So from the very beginning, you book the appointment. We select whether you want to do something custom. My turnaround time is really fast. I mean, I can produce the
Wow.
dresses as early as a month right
What?
now.
No way.
So
That's
yes.
incredible.
Oh yes.
Wow.
Oh yes. Because I have, my production team, and even if it's something custom, unless a specific fabric like lace, French lace, you have to order it from Paris. And that could perhaps take a little bit longer depending on the quantity, but I I'm pretty fast. So
That's awesome.
I take pride in that. I really do.
Hmm.
And like I said, yeah, I have a lot of new samples now, so I'm really, really excited that people actually get to try my dresses. This is something new. Before, I didn't have enough inventory to be able to allow, anyone who wanted to try on a dress, to be able to come into the showroom and try it. But now you do. So, really
That's
excited.
awesome. Yay. I'm so excited for you. New showroom, new collection. We will post all of that on our site on nashvillebridal.com. Some of the images from Paola's collection. And I so appreciate you coming today to just chat all about this. This has been so fun. I'm so glad that we got to know each other a little bit better, and definitely go check out Paola's designs. So thanks.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to have been on your show. I love it.
Oh, thanks. Awesome. Well, have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.